Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is HubSpot Admin Pro Tips. I'm curious, how many of you were able to join my Essentials session yesterday? We got a few? Okay. This time, I am still going to go fast, but we're going to cover fewer things so we can go a little deeper. That's what makes this advanced, I guess. So, I am Kyle Jepson. This is most of the rest of me. My wife and I have baby number 5 recently, a little 2-month-old who's very squishy and needing to be squished. So I got to get back to Boston before too long. But I'm very delighted to be here with you in San Francisco today. I'm in such a hurry, I'm just skipping the agenda, all the stuff, trying to get to the good things. Yesterday, I gave an overview of the features that I thought were most impactful to HubSpot admins. Most of those I will demo today, so I'm not showing that slide again. But I do think some of this pricing and packaging information will be pretty interesting to you. So first of all, data enrichment is now included in all paid subscription. If you're Starter, Pro, or Enterprise, you can enrich contacts and companies as much as you want. There's no credit consumption. There's no pricing. It's just do it. Enrich your records. I think that's very exciting. Data quality is now unshackled from the thing we used to call Operations Hub that is now called Data Hub. Go to the data quality page. If you have, again, a Starter or Pro or Enterprise subscription, you can go there. You can see the health of your data. You as admins especially should be keeping track of that. Second thing is HubSpot credits. We are starting to have some AI tools and things that consume credits. Not enrichment anymore, but some of the other tools do. This was rolled out earlier this year, and when you hit your limit, you were automatically upgraded to the next higher tier. Surprise, surprise, you all hated that. So we've changed it. That is still an option if you like that, by all means. But you can also do pay-as-you-go overages, or you as an admin can just set a limit. And once your account has consumed that many credits, all credit-consuming features will automatically pause till the next month starts. Also, there are credits included in all paid subscriptions, so you should try out these tools. You as an admin can put in the guardrails you want. I think it's a really exciting time to be an admin. Number 3, CPQ. I will be demoing the CPQ for you today. Big news, Commerce Hub now has CPQ. Quieter news, but still very important for you to know, Commerce Hub now also has paid seats. So if you have sales reps you want generating and sharing quotes, they're going to need a Commerce Hub professional or enterprise seat. Hopefully what I show you a little bit today will help you decide if that's a good fit for your company. And finally, we have a standalone product line for the CRM now. Historically, if you wanted a professional level feature like workflows or like the custom report builder, you had to go buy Sales Hub Professional, or you had to go buy Service Hub Professional, or Marketing Hub Professional, or something professional. And if you wanted something like custom objects, you had to buy an enterprise tier of one of those things. That's no longer the case. You can now just buy professional level CRM or enterprise level CRM. It's like half the cost of a Sales Hub seat. It's a fraction of the cost of Marketing Hub. So I think that is definitely something you should look into. If you've not had access to workflows or the custom report builder or custom objects and you wanted them, but it was price prohibitive, hopefully that is much more accessible for you now. So that's the pricing and packaging stuff. Let's get into the fun stuff. Let's do some demos. The CRM now has a projects object if you want to do some project management. It's early days for this, but I still find it incredibly exciting. Let me just show you how it works. So, well, spoiler, lists are now called segments. We'll get there later. So if you opt into this beta, it's a public beta, so if you come up here and go to product updates, you can opt yourself in, look for projects, and then you'll just get an item here in the CRM area, and you'll get an index page, just like you would expect for a CRM object. And if we want to add a project, you can import them if you want, but we can just create new. And as you might expect, you can give it a name. This is my fancy new project. It'll have pipelines. Here are the default pipeline stages, planning, execution, that sort of thing. You can give it a status. You can give it a description if you want, an owner. You can set a priority and type. And because this is an object, you can create custom properties, and you can customize what this form looks like, all the things you would expect. And then you have a start date, which we'll make, I guess that's today. And we'll have an end date, which we will set, how about at the end of the month? Great. So we're going to create this project. And just like when you create any object inside the CRM, you end up in your CRM record. Looks exactly the same as all the others. And I think something that's really great about having a project inside a CRM is you can associate it with other stuff, right? If this is relevant to contacts or if it's companies or deals. And remember, this is an object. So you can create project-based workflows, or you can build projects from other workflows. I built a fun workflow just for funsies where when a deal moves to close one, an implementation project gets created, right? And tasks get created and assigned. You can do this today. It's fun. You should try it out. You're admins. You'll love it. if we go back to the index page, this is really cool. We've been talking a little bit about how there are different views. You can do like visualizations and things on index pages now. Projects and deals and maybe tickets have a Gantt view if you opt into this beta. So here is my project, right? This is the one I just created. And if I want to change the dates, I can just drag and drop it a little bit. I can just resize it if I want. And then if I want to create some tasks, I can just click this Create Task button. This uses the same architecture as tasks have always been inside HubSpot CRM. You can use them in task queues and all those other places. Here's task number 1, right? The thing we had to create in order for all this to work is tasks now have start dates, which is cool. So if I make this start date, a couple weeks from now, I can have the due date, how about we'll do a custom date. It'll be due that day, right? And then we can go ahead and create this task. And now, look, because it's a Gantt chart, we can see it right here. Look, and if we want to move it around, we can. If we want to extend it, we can. And you can create more tasks. And that is the projects tool for now. We have a lot more things planned. Subtasks are coming soon. Templates are coming soon. Hoping we'll see these things before the end of the year. But as with all things in HubSpot, I expect we will iterate and grow this very quickly. And I think you should all, as admins, start playing around with it and see what you think. So projects inside the CRM. So exciting. Big day. Great. Now let's talk about Marketing Hub. As I already spoiled for you, lists are now called segments. And this is not purely a rebranding thing. There are a lot of new features built into this. So you land on this page, but there's an intro page. You should definitely check out the intro page. There's like a HubSpot Academy video here. It'll tell you some stuff. You can see how many segments you have for different types, and you can just go ahead and create them right here. You can create segments for web visitors, whether they are anonymous or known. That is not a thing you could do with lists. So this is all pretty cool. There's also an Analyze tab over here. So you won't see a lot because I haven't created very many, but you'll get like a Sankey chart. You'll get a segment overlap chart, which I believe is a Venn diagram showing you how many records are in this list, this segment and this segment, and how much they overlap. You can see some that require your attention, similar to what we've had in workflows in the past. There's an Explore tab that I have not been able to get to load or do anything, but I'm sure it's awesome, so be sure to check that one when you get home. But let's go ahead and create a segment. And this is where you will start to see some differences. We'll just do a contact base, but again, there's web visitors, super exciting. I don't have any web visitors, so I can't show it to you. But if you've built lists in HubSpot before, you're used to a pretty cramped multi-column experience. I think this is so much better. So if I want to add some filters, I get a nice little tidy, here are properties, here are events, here are memberships. And something that has been very hard with lists in the past is we've had very rigid constraints on when you can do and filtering and when you can do or filtering. So if I've been running some events and I want to decide where my next event should be, to have a list that was give me all the people who have attended this event or this event or this event, and live in either this city or this city, that would have been a nightmare. But now it's pretty easy. So I've created just some Boolean values here, attended for my various events. And what I can do is I can add this in here, and I'm going to make this a yes. And then this is and, but I'm going to change and to or. Why not? And so now if I want to do, yeah, you guys love this stuff. Now I can do another one, right? And it's just going to be or filtering all the way down. We'll do this. And we'll add one more, right? And we're going to be, these are all or filters, and it's very exciting. And so that's my first group, right? People who have attended any one of these events. And then instead of or, I'll change that to an and. Why not? And so I can come in here, and I can choose city. And then I can do, apparently this is a decision people have to make, San Francisco, or, I can't spell, or Boston, right? And now I have that list, right? Ands and ors, interchangeable groups, or whatever. Sorry, my browser's being weird. You can just do that. I think that's great. There's this test matches button. You can turn this on. You can select an individual record to see if it matches the filters, or you can say all contacts, and it will fail. No. That's not what happened when I practiced. It'll give you little percentages and counts next to each of the filters, how many records count each one, as long as you're not demoing in front of 2,200 people. So that is segments, lots of cool things in there, definitely worth checking that out. Personalization is a private beta. Because this is the advanced group, I figure most of you know how HubSpot works and you want to know what's next. So I'm taking you to the bleeding edge a few times today. And there's this new, Personalization, I can't see it. Where am I? Was it down there? Second from the bottom, thank you. New personalization. This is like an entirely new tool inside of Marketing Hub. So if you've ever done smart content before, and you're like in the editor, and you're like making this module personalized and making that one personalized for different segments and things, it can get a little confusing. You can get a little lost. Check out this new experience. I think this is delightful. So I'm going to do this for landing pages. CTA is the other option currently. And what I can do is I can select a landing page. I'll do our contact us page, how about? And I can choose a list or a web visitor segment. I'm going to choose a contact list. And we'll just do, I can't even read any of that. That's probably a good one. And now we'll create a variant. And so what we're going to do is we're going to land on an error. HubSpot is punking me today, and I don't appreciate it. Let's hop in here. OK, it did sort of work. So here's our contact us page. I'm going to add a, does one of these say add, personalize, prioritize? Uh-oh. All right. This is far away and hard for me to see. I'm going to, does that say, I can't even read this. OK, there we go. So yeah, I'll create this for, how about my MQLs? That sounds good. And we'll create that. And hopefully it'll work this time. Yeah. And so now you get this visual layout, right? And if I add another one of these for another segment, we'll grab another one of these. How about that one there? That sounds good. They'll just be laid out in, no, that one doesn't work. I don't know what's going on. I wonder if some of my segments are just empty and it gets confused. That one. How about? OK, it's not going to work. Anyway, this is a private beta. Did I mention that? And so what would happen is if I could create another one, it would be here. And I can change the priority of them, and I can hop in and personalize them. There's also a personalization agent that will, like, if you say, I want to personalize this landing page for this segment right here, it will make recommendations about which parts of change this text, change this video, whatever. That's personalization. If you're willing to deal with some error messages, you should get into that private beta and help us make it better. Pathfinder is a new feature inside of Journey reports. And I'm doing this in a separate portal because mine doesn't have enough data to make it work. But if I want to create a report and, ooh, this is new. Anyway, they're changing stuff on me. That's all right. There's customer journey report. The thing is, normally when you build a journey report and you make these Sankey charts, you say, I know the journey. It's this action, and then it's this action, and this action, and this action. You can see the squirrely people who skip that action and the people who go right to that action. And it's great if you know what that path is. But if you don't know what that path is, this tool has always been kind of hard to use. What you can do now is use the Pathfinder. So what you do is you select an event, and I will do a form submission, right? And so I'm just going to say, when someone submits a form, I can see the paths that lead them to submitting a form, or I can see the paths they take after submitting that form. Either way, whichever way you want to go. And then you can just hit next. And what it's going to do is analyze all of these, right? So it's looking at all the form submissions in this test portal, which has a whole bunch of garbage data in it. And it's looking at what people do after they submit the form. And then it's looking for the patterns across all those different contacts. What do they have in common? What do they do differently? And then it'll give us a Sankey chart that shows those different paths. So there you go. This is what people do after they submit a form. And I can mouse over these and see what these different paths are. And this can start to help you optimize for this path, start to understand your customer behavior. It can give you insights that otherwise would have been very difficult to achieve. So that is, oh, right, that's just on top of mine. Yep. No, I don't care. We don't need to save that one. So that's a public beta you can opt into right now today. Let's talk about, oh, great, you like that one. Let's talk about Sales Hub. Both of these are private betas, but I think they are worth knowing. Let's talk about process guides. So I'm going to show you how to get to process guides if you're in this private beta. And it's going to raise immediate questions in your mind. I'll tell you what those questions are. I won't tell you the answers because I do not know. The way I get to process guides is by going to playbooks. And if I go to the playbooks page when I'm opted into this, it says, do you want to try process guides instead? Does that mean playbooks are going away? Does that mean this is the next evolution of playbooks? Does it mean one's like a pro feature and one's an enterprise feature? No idea. Your guess is as good as mine. But let me show you what a process guide is, and we'll just focus on that. So when I build a process guide, I get this experience here. I choose what object record I want this to appear on. I'll just choose contact. You can give it a good name. You should give it a good name. I'm not going to give it a name. I'm just going to show you how it works. So this is section-based. This is already very different from a playbook. And I have this section. I can rename it. I can give it a title. And I can add various elements in here. I can add property input. So maybe I want someone to give me, I have a contact property for age. But I can change the label, right? I can say, how old are they? And I can choose whether or not this is required. So already, I'm much more prescriptive than your typical playbook. I can add other elements, right? That I should probably add some instructions. This is rich text. You write something clear and intelligible right there, just like that. And your sales reps will know exactly what to do. You can move this up and down. It's pretty nice. And then you can also do a record input. This one I think is really interesting. You can choose, this is, remember, going to appear on contact records, but I can choose any other, even my custom objects. Maybe I want, as they're talking, which car are you talking about? And you can select it. Then down here, you can have actions that this process guide will take automatically. You can update properties. You can create a record. You can add associations. Look at this. Maybe, if we're on a particular contact record and we're selecting a particular car record, we want those to automatically get associated with some particular association label. That sounds cool, right? And you can update, you saw there were other actions, update properties, create records, that sort of thing. That's just section 1. Now I can add another section down here, and I can do all the same stuff in it. But what's really super cool is now that I have another section, I can come up here and up here, no, this one here, there's this little logic button. And if I give a particular action, oh, come on, work for me here. What? I can't read that. No actions available for, anyway. There is conditional logic sometimes. So you can say when someone gives a particular value for this property, send them to a particular section. Maybe if I add more sections, it'll like it. I don't know. So similar to if you've ever created like a Google form, and like if you answer this, we're going to skip section 2 and go to section 3. You can build all that into your process guide. So this is an exciting new world for HubSpot. This is something much more prescriptive and automated and powerful than we've seen in playbooks in the past. Again, I don't know what the relationship of playbooks and process guides will be, but this is a private beta, and if it's interesting to you, you should try to get into it. The other private beta inside of Sales Hub right now that I think you should know about is, did anybody ever use Org Chart Hub? You guys know what this is? We acquired it. Org Chart Hub was one of the first made specifically for HubSpot apps in the HubSpot marketplace. And we acquired it just 2 months ago, and already it is now integrated into here. So if you've never heard of Org Chart Hub, I'm just up here saying gibberish, and you're like, Kyle, get to the point. So here is a buying group. This is the name of this beta. It's a buying group. And I can see the different buyers and their roles for this company. And if I open the buyer group, I get this modal where I get a visual layout of these people's relationships to each other. So if you're doing a very strong account-based motion, it's really good to know where someone sits in an org chart. And you can come in here, and this person, maybe we know they have someone below them, and maybe it's just going to, maybe we have a contact we want to put in there, or maybe we're just going to add a placeholder. We don't know who this person is yet, but we've got to go find them through our research, right? You can kind of map this thing out. You can also see a heat map of activity. So these are the folks that are interacting a lot with our sales content. These are the folks that are interacting a lot with our marketing content. It's just a really good way if you deal with buying committees, if you are doing an account-based motion, it's a very nice visual way to lay things out. Also, the other thing the former org chart guys have built us are account maps. So if you have a lot of parent-child companies, it can be very hard just looking at a record to understand where in the hierarchy a particular company sits. But with account maps, you can put them out visually, right? And you can see who rolls up to where. You can see what their relationship is to each other. And then you can turn on this thing for deal activity, so you can see how the revenue is flowing between these different entities, right? So that you can do open deals or you can do closed deals. You can see it rolls up this way. We've sold a lot into this one. We haven't sold over here. So for those of you who do account-based motions, I think this is going to be incredibly powerful. I'm so excited that it is no longer a separate app that you have to buy and install. It's just going to be a part of Sales Hub. So, hooray. All right, here's the big one. CPQ is causing a lot of buzz. Let's talk about Commerce Hub. So if I come in here to Commerce, and the first thing I will do is go to products. Our product library has not changed very much with this new change, but there is one little feature we've added that's going to make a huge difference for a lot of you, I think. So if we add a product here, we'll create it from scratch. This is, what should we sell? We're selling strawberries. Delicious. So we can come down here. All we have ever had is flat rate pricing, right? It costs this much per unit. What we have now is tiered pricing. So I can choose, there are a few different kinds, volume-based, stair-step, graduated, little definitions for each of those. But what you can do is you can come in here and maybe the first 100 costs a certain amount, and the second 100 costs a different amount, and you can add the next 100, and you can add as many as you want. And you don't have to go by hundreds. Something I think is really cool here is if we go 50, and if we go 100, it will understand, oh, now we're counting by 50s. I know how to count by 50s, and that's pretty fun. Or maybe we'll go, I don't know, I don't want to get too crazy because I'm bad at math myself. 75, 150, 225, right? That's how it works. And then 300. Ta-da! So it's pretty cool. It's pretty easy to create these tiers. And then we need some prices here. So this will be 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 50 cents. Great. So now we have a tiered pricing on our on this product. So that's a thing that is now possible that was not possible before. The bigger news in CPQ, I think, is quotes. And I want to show you a couple different aspects of this. First of all, templates are entirely different and kind of mean a new thing. If you wanted custom templates before, it was like a custom coding thing, and template really just meant like layout and look and feel. Template means something different now, and if I create a new template, you will see what I mean by this. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to create a template, and imagine, you know, I have kind of like a standard enterprise package, and this is going to be, we'll call this the standard enterprise package, right? We can come in here. The first thing, to show you how different this is, I can hop right into the line items, and I can just add some of these as part of, this is like the standard enterprise offering, right? As is common, you get some seats, you get some onboarding, and you get some strawberries. I think you've all done a sales process like this before. And right, maybe the terms, maybe we don't actually trust our salespeople to write out our legal terms every time they fill in a quote. Maybe that was a ridiculous thing to ever expect in the first place, right? So I, as an admin, am going to just add the terms right here, and they will be hard-coded into the template, right? And the salesperson won't have to worry about it. Yeah, some of you like that. And all of these, right, this is a modular level. We can add other sections and things here. But just for the sake of brevity, have you ever wanted to add an attachment to a quote? Is that maybe a thing you would like in your signing package? You can do that at the template level. You can do that, your reps can do that when they're generating the quote. And it's super easy. You can just come in here. Maybe we want to add some technical specifications here. You can add up to 10 attachments in this one module, and there it is connected now. This will be part of the signing experience when the rep sends it. And you can choose, is it included in signing or not? Is this like for your information, or do they actually have to sign it? So you have that ability. Notice there's a tiny little button here that is, even I cannot read because it's way over there, but there is an agent associated with quotes. I'll show that to you in just a minute. But let's just go ahead and publish this as is, right? We now have this template ready to go. It has been saved. That's great. So now let's go to the rep experience. Let's say I am generating a quote, and I'm going to grab a deal here. I don't even know. How about that one? Sounds good. Yeah, we like Karen. And we're going to use our standard enterprise package. So when I create this quote, first of all, if you ever create a quote in the old experience, it was like a 7 different step wizard that the sales rep had to go through, right? Now we're just straight to the quote, right? And look, the terms are there, the line items are there. I, as a sales rep, can adjust these, right? Maybe this person wanted 200 strawberries, right? And this is tiered pricing, so it should calculate that appropriately. The total contract value is going to change also. I can come in, I can add a cover letter. I can add attachments here, right? I can generate this if I want. It'll look at the deal information. If I had like call transcripts and stuff, it'll say like, hey, as we discussed, here's your quote here. Let me know if you have any questions, right? Super cool. I, as the person generating this quote, the agent is on. I can choose whether or not to turn it on. I can add additional information if there's thing I want this agent to do. Because what this is, the way this is going to work is when my buyer receives this quote, there's going to be like a little chat icon that'll open up and it'll say, do you have any questions about this? And like, yeah, I'm the CFO. How does your tiered pricing work? What are your terms of this? Why can we get a discount for that? And it will answer questions based on what you tell it here and what is in the quote. And if the buyer asks any questions it doesn't know, it will connect them to you, the sales rep, which is great. So you can negotiate the things you should negotiate, and don't let the bot do negotiating. That's not a thing we're ready for quite yet. So that is the experience, right? I can go ahead and send this. After that, it's very much the familiar experience you're used to. You send a link and they can open it up. What is also new over here, though, is analysis. As you share your quotes, you can see how many times they have been viewed and interacted with. So if you see there's one that's had a whole bunch of views but it still hasn't been signed, maybe you can call and ask if they have any questions. If there's one that has not been opened at all, maybe you need to send it again. Maybe you need to confirm you sent it to the right person or the right address. You can get some metrics here about your activity and your accept rate. And just a lot of good information here that was not available before. So this is what the CPQ looks like today. This is early days for us in Commerce Hub, but we are taking CPQ much more seriously now, and I think you will continue to see new features coming there. So that's what I wanted to tell you about Commerce Hub. Let's talk about Data Hub. I'm really excited about Data Hub. I want you all to love Data Hub, so let's just be ready to be happy together, all right? Data Studio is, we love this studio term suddenly. Campaigns are now housed in Marketing Studio. Data sets are now housed in Data Studio. I'm going to show you Breeze Studio in just a few minutes. Data sets are still very much data sets. But what Data Studio enables you to do is add a lot more data to your data sets and use them in a lot more places. So let's just go ahead and jump right into a data set. If you're unfamiliar with what a data set is, you grab data from your CRM. I'm going to grab some contacts, right? And you put them in here, and you can choose more CRM objects. You can join them together. You can customize the columns, right? We could add more properties here. We could remove columns or rearrange them as needed, and we're going to get this custom table. We can add derived values. We could create a column with some formulas in it. There are a lot of different things we can do. That's what data sets has been like for a long time. What Data Studio introduces is the ability to add more data from more sources here. So we could add a source, we could add another CRM object, but we can come over to external sources. There's a CSV file I uploaded. This is a thing we introduced a few months ago. But what if I want to add a new source altogether? Well, you can pull in data from any of these systems into your data set and just have it as a column in this table. And there are lots of different apps here. I'm sure you all use some of them, different ones. But let's stick with spreadsheets, right? Anybody ever used a spreadsheet before? I think we've all been there. Whether you're using Microsoft or Google Sheets, you can pull that in. So let's look at the Google Sheets experience since I have my Google account connected. That looks good. We'll select this. And now we're just going to go right into my Google Drive. I've got to sign in, but that makes sense. Ain't no thing. And we're going to find my inbound demo. Shoot, I've got a lot of, let's see, I can't see inbound demo data. That's the one I want. And I pull this in. And if you have multiple sheets, you can choose which sheet you're going to bring in. Mine happens to only have one sheet, so we're going to keep that simple. And now we're going to select the columns. This is the part where it gets really cool. Are you ready for the really cool thing? So I come in here, and we're used to column headers being right here. Somebody's come in and written a bunch of gibberish at the top of mine that I'm going to ignore. I don't have time to read this. I'm on stage. And I can just say, this is the header column right here, right? So now, that's the header column. And it has the names, and I can choose what type of data this is. I can check and uncheck them if I don't want to bring all these columns in. But I do want to bring all these columns in, so I'll just add this to my spreadsheet. And now I can choose it from my external data sources. It's right there. We're just going to add it in. We'll continue. I can choose exactly how this is going to be matched up. We are working on making this fully automatic. It can be smart enough, but that's not quite here yet. So for now, you'll just have to say, we're matching email to email. We're going to do only one match. We're going to add it. And now what we have is a table that is a mixture of HubSpot data and data from a spreadsheet, all live in HubSpot. And I can add more, right? I could add more of those external sources we already saw. You could pull in information from all your different services that you have integrated. You could build derived formula fields on all of them, right? So we're going to take this field from HubSpot and this one from a spreadsheet and this one from whatever app you've integrated, and we're going to multiply them together, and we're going to divide by 7, and we're going to have an output that is meaningful to our company, and you could have that as a column, right? And then when you're done, you can save this. Let's call it, I don't know, cool. I don't know. That's a new word. We all learned it together today. Yep, we'll save that. And when we're ready, we can use it in different places. So if we come to used in, we can use it in now. Data sets have historically been used for generating reports, right? That's why we built this originally, I mean. We found that admins know how to take all the data in and select the right fields and stuff, but your typical sales manager has no idea which ones to create, so the admin would create a data set for the sales manager, and the sales manager could then use that to generate a report. Well, you can still use this in a report if you want. That's the top option. We figure that's the default. But you can also use them in workflows. You can use them in segments. You can use them to you can sync the data to the CRM. I don't know why this is not working. Let's give it a refresh just in case. So sync to CRM means we're going to take these values from these columns and put them into CRM properties. That's a thing you could do. You can use them to build a segment. We've already seen segments. And if it will behave itself, we can use it to build a workflow, which I would really love to do because that's my favorite one. That use HubSpot, only available customers on HubSpot new data. It's trying to upsell me, folks. That's wild. I work for HubSpot. I thought I could do this on stage at Inbound for free. That's, all right. Someone is getting a talking to. So the way this works, and I'm really sad I can't show it to you, is if I clicked workflow, what it would do, it would take me right into the workflow builder. And it would be a scheduled workflow. Are we going to pull this data from the data set just once and do it right now? Are we going to do it on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, what? And your enrollment criteria are going to be just the data in this data set, right? But then what's really cool is as you go down, if you want to do branching logic, you can say branch based on values in this data set. So all of this essentially works as though it is data inside your CRM, even if it is syncing from multiple different systems. So that's the best part, and it's really exciting, and you'll just have to do it at home on your own time. That's your homework assignment for me. Let's talk about Breeze now. Cool things happening in Breeze. As I mentioned, there's now a Breeze Studio. So let's start with that one. If I come over to Breeze, I can go to this new Breeze Studio thing. We've got an intro page again. If you come to agents, you can select agents from a marketplace. We have this marketplace now with a pretty good number of agents. It's not like hundreds, right? But this is where we're starting. And if you as an admin select one of these, and you want to use it in your company, right? I'll add this customer handoff agent, right? You can add this agent to, I'll agree to that, to your account. And if you open it, this is kind of what it looks like. So this handoff agent, it asks for a company name and a new owner name. And so it's looking at a company in your CRM, and then who are you transferring this to? And what it's going to do is look at all this work that's been done on this company, and it's going to put together a little report for the new person that they can see so they're ready to take it over, right? The thing I want to call out about this, I don't care about this particular agent. I don't think it's any more or less good than all the other agents. This configure button is the thing that I think is really interesting to all of you. So you can come in here and see it has these 2 input fields, but maybe you as an admin want to make it gather other inputs. So you could choose different objects or properties that need to be put in. You can choose different values that need to be supplied when someone is using this agent. You can't currently edit the instructions. These are hard-coded. But if you want to add additional instructions, you could say, you could add, we need to include a deal, and then you could add in the instructions. And the reason we're including a deal is we are transferring this from sales to customer success, and we want the customer success person to implement all the things that were sold in this deal, right? And then you can choose what other objects and things. You can choose a trigger if you want this to run automatically at various times. And this looks very much like the workflow triggers. So anytime a property changes or something, you could have this report or whatever this agent does automatically come out. And the reason I'm taking the time to show all this to you is this is the state of things today. You can't build an agent from scratch in Breeze Studio today, but all the pieces are there. So I am hopeful that that will come soon. What you can build from scratch today is an assistant. So the thing we used to call Copilot is now called Assistant. When we first launched Copilot, let's just be honest, it was kind of terrible. It's really great now. If you haven't spent time talking to what is now called Breeze Assistant, it's incredible. It can build custom objects for you. It can collaborate with you on the design of a workflow. It's really smart, and it's getting better all the time. And you, as an admin in Breeze Studio, can create what's called custom assistants. So if we come over to the assistants page, I am creating a movie about Joan of Arc. If any of you have $15 million to invest in an animated musical, please see me afterward. I have created an assistant that if someone wanted to ask questions about my movie, it could answer it. That's fun, right? Because you can do anything. So the process for creating an assistant, you will see this is pretty familiar right now. You just saw what it looks like to configure an agent. This is the same thing. You can choose your welcome message. So Breeze Assistant, Copilot, if you've never opened it, it opens in a little side drawer, and it looks like this. You can say, like, what if you're tired of salespeople asking you the same questions over and over about your sales process? You've done all the work to carefully document it, and they just can't look it up. Now you could build an assistant that could answer all that, right? So the welcome message, ask me, whoops, that's weird. Ask me anything about our sales process, right? And you can give it instructions here. You can say, you are the sales expert. I am providing you with the materials you need to answer questions. Sales reps are going to come and ask you things about our sales process. Look through the documentation I'm providing. If the answer is there, give it to them. If not, tell them to come talk to me, right? I could type that. It would take forever. You guys would get bored. So imagine we wrote that there. Then you can control what data this has access to. For some assistants, you might want them to go web browsing, right? If this is an assistant to help research companies or something, that would be great. If we're talking about your sales process, probably don't want to give it access to the internet. So we'll leave that unchecked. And then we can come in here, and we can create a vault of knowledge. So I have one about Joan of Arc. That's where all my secrets about my musical are. But if we say create, we can create a sales process vault, and all our sales process stuff. And we can upload files here if you have documentation you've written about your sales process. You can include CRM objects. That's probably not super relevant in this context, but in other places it might be. You can add knowledge articles and blog posts and whatever you want it to know, right? And that's going to be its knowledge vault. And so when it's asked questions, it will answer based on the data you've given it information. And then you can give it a little logo, and you can give it a name, and it's very cute. And the way this works is if I am using, yep, that's fine. We're not going to save this one. Assistant, right? I click this button. It slides out. There it is. Hello. I can, up here, this is just talking to the normal Breeze assistant, right? But if you create custom assistants, they'll be available up here. My Joan of Arc one is right here, but you can imagine sales process assistant being right here. A salesperson could just click on it, ask their questions, it'll answer based on the instructions you gave it. You can create these today. You should. Go do it. Great. We have 7 minutes. We're doing great. I'm doing so much better than I did yesterday. Let's talk about smart properties really quickly. So we'll just go to the contacts page. This is an index page inside the CRM. If we wanted to create a smart property, we could add a column here, and we could create a new property. And we can, come on, yeah, that one, I can't read it, but this is where you set up a smart property. And you can give it instructions, and you can tell it to look at particular pieces of data. So you could create a smart property that researches a company's main competitors, or its tech stack, or whatever, and it will just automatically populate this. It'll basically enrich this custom property with the data you're asking for. The thing I want to call out to you, we introduced this in the spring, but what has been growing and getting better is the number of things you can include in here. We recently added call transcripts. So when we first started, it was just properties. And it was like, well, if we want to analyze like a PDF, you could put that into a file property and you could analyze it. And the example I gave to people last spring was, let's say you want to analyze someone's earnings calls to see what their main goals and challenges are. You could export that out as a PDF, put it into a file property, analyze the file property. Or what you can do now is just analyze a call transcript. So imagine you want to ask, like, hey, we've been having lots of conversations with these people. Have they mentioned what their goals are? Have they mentioned what their challenges are? Have they listed any objections about buying from us? And you could just have the AI pulling that out of the unstructured data of your telephone conversations, and that could be an incredible level of analysis for you to have for each individual record inside your CRM. So this is a thing you can create. You write the prompt here. You can test it, make sure you get the results you want, and then you can just put it here and choose whether or not to automatically fill it right away. Last thing I want to talk to you about is intent, research, and signals. So this is down, cancel, great. Oh, no, cancel some more. Oh, my goodness. How many things do I have open? Okay, let's go over to marketing, and let's go to buyer intent. So buyer intent has been around for a little while, and this is where you can see your visitors, and we can enrich them in the same way we enrich your CRM records. You can set up a lot of cool things here. You can set up a total addressable market. You can define intent criteria, research intent criteria. I'll come back to that in a minute. You can set up auto-add companies, right? So if a company visits your website and they match these certain criteria, you can have them automatically enriched and added as companies in your CRM. You can get email digest. You can exclude certain companies if you don't want your competitors or whatever brought in. There are a lot of different things here. So visitors are people who are visiting your website, and maybe they don't fill out a form, maybe they don't identify themselves, but we, using the information we have and our enrichment database and stuff, do our best to identify them. So you can see them here. You can filter them in a variety of ways. You can now create segments of them, which is super exciting. Research intent is different. These people, these companies, actually haven't visited your website yet, but they are searching and visiting sites that have that are on topics that you have identified as intent topics. So over in configuration, we saw that you can say, here are our intent topics. If these companies are visiting a lot of websites that are related to those sorts of themes, we'll surface them here. So you can see, this person is looking for agricultural solutions. I provide agricultural solutions. Maybe now is a good time to reach out to them. Both of these this came out this spring. Research came out over the summer. Signals is brand new today. So Signals is a little different from the other two. This is for records that are already in your CRM. If you have like a target accounts or something you want to keep track of, you can select the companies from your CRM that you want to monitor signals for. And actually, I should just point out this text right here. Can you see this? If you track companies, as they do various things, it'll show up on their records as activities. So if they get like a funding round, if they have layoffs, if they announce a new product line, whatever topics you decide are relevant, that will be automatically added to the CRM data, and it'll just be there. And so if you want, and then you can use this to trigger workflows. If you want to assign a task to someone, hey, they just got a funding round, now's a great time to bring up that sales conversation again, whatever you want to do. This is taking information out from the world and just automatically putting it on your CRM records. So those are kind of the main breeze things I wanted to talk to you about, and that is kind of the extent of what I had for you. So please, thank you. Please rate my session. I believe you do this in the Inbound app. My understanding is you give some stars and you can give some comments. I think if you give a lot of stars, that means they will bring me back again next year. And the comments is where you can say all the things like, Kyle, why don't you demo things that actually work? And Kyle, can you slow down? And Kyle, all your feedback for me so I can do better if they have me back next week. The other thing I want you to know, please, 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 if you are an admin of any Stripe, please scan this QR code. I have it in my pocket. So if you want it, there it is. Hey, thank you, AV team. If you scan this QR code, I have a group. It meets every Tuesday. Starting this coming Tuesday, we will be diving deep into the products that were launched at Inbound, and we will have the actual product teams that built them demoing them. So if you have questions, if you have requests, if you have feedback, please come to those sessions for the next 8 or 9 weeks. We are going to be diving deep into all the millions of things that launched this week. So this is a great group to be a part of. Thank you all so much for coming. I would love to meet all of you if you're interested in saying hello. I will hang out down here until they kick us out, and then we can hang out in the hallway until the fire marshal comes. Have a great day.